Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Anthony C. hosting. I have with me Focus on Liberia West African correspondent and the co-host of our program Roundtable Africa, Mr. Edward Amara, with a special report in this special edition of Focus on Liberia. The topic that he is reporting on: Delhi gas tanker explosion in Sierra Leone, the agony of a nation. Edward is in Freetown, Sierra Leone. He has seen it firsthand. He has done his investigation as our reporter, and he's here with all the facts and the analysis for you, our Liberian audience, and our audience all around the globe. If you have not shared the show yet, please do, because this story represents a complete agony of this country called Sierra Leone. And you need to know all the facts about what has happened that has captured more than 115 persons' life. But the facts are here. Edward got them, and he's here to share it. Edward, welcome to Focus on Liberia. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank God, and we also given God all the grace because of the current terrible thing our nation is undergoing, and we pray and hope that disasters like this are far away from us.
Thank you so very much. So, Edward, I know you have videos, images, and everything to show to give a unique understanding of this Delhi explosion. But tell us, first of all, what went wrong, actually?
Well, all started on the 5th, Friday, the 5th of November, 2021. You know, Freetown is a very crowded city. It's the most popular city in Sierra Leone. It's our head of commercial center and head of all political activities in Sierra Leone. It's a city over 1 million people or residents, and our country is barely above 7 million based on the 2015 census that was conducted by the past government. So Freetown is the most populated or densely populated city in Sierra Leone. This incident took everybody by shock. We all know this is not the first time that it actually happened in Sierra Leone. It happened one at Shep some years ago, and sometimes again in the 1980s. It happened in a district called Kailaon. But since then, our country have moved forward, and we have a sophisticated city of our own that is like Freetown. So it happened on the 5th of November, 2021. A tanker purportedly heading in the eastern part of Freetown, around PNB, that is Wellington, going with fuel loaded into it. And it got hit by another truck. Then there was spilling of the fuel, or what we normally call here petrol. And it happened in the early hours of the night, around 10 p.m. here. And since our city is a very crowded one, by then people who are working actually in far parts of the cities, we are heading back to their homes. And there are certain people living from Freetown, heading back into the provinces of Sierra Leone, especially when it was during the weekend time. And since it is during the weekend, most people normally spend their weekends out of the city. And we also have people who we are actually within the city. Normally they head on the street, or they normally go in street by then to do their own transaction. And in doing those transactions, Freetown happens to be like a city. Even when it is during the night, those who sell around the street hodlers, they may be parked around. And it happened in a very crowded area where almost everybody we are around. So when this tanker got hit by a truck, there was spilling of fuel. And bike riders, people who were around, they took advantage of this dangerous opportunity. They were scooping the fuel that was definitely emanating, if not leaving from the tank, taking advantage of the situation. And the driver in question made it very clear. Reason being, he knows the danger of fear.
Right.
He knows that fear is something that is flammable and deadly. And even our body is also flammable and deadly. And thinking about how crowded the city is.
Hold on, Edward. Let's get that part clear. That's the essential part. So when this gas tanker was hit by another. The fuel started coming out of this tanker, and you are saying residents around, citizens of Freetown, saw that as an opportunity to get some fuel.
Absolutely, absolutely. They saw that as an opportunity to scoop the fuel that was spilling out of the tank. Okay. So they took it as an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And the driver, based on popular information, left the tanker and was soundly making warning to all the audience, saying that this is a very dangerous thing. Everybody should stay away from it. As I said, night was just taking absolute control of our land here. It is around 10 p.m. when the city became absolutely busy. Some people were leaving from the eastern part heading towards the west. Others were leaving from the west going into the east. And some were even leaving the capital heading out of the city. And it happened that there was traffic congestion. Okay. So everything just came to a standstill. And some people actually never knew even what was going on. So in that, according to the information that we collected, Africa, like any other country, or Sierra Leone, like any other country, have some people who are very indisciplined. They can even smoke in public. So why taken away of this fuel into things was actually going around by people who took an advantage of, especially bike riders and everybody who was definitely around. Some people actually came, they were stopped because of the traffic congestion. They never knew what was going on. The driver escaped. Some people just met the horrible scene. So somebody just came in with a jet of cigarette, dropped it, and everything exploded.
Edward, before the explosion, what kind of containers those who were around were using in trying to get some of the fuel that got spilled over?
Well, it was any container. It could be like these 5 gallons, 1 gallon bucket, anything so far that they know that they can take the fuel out of the tanker and it will definitely be transported to their various locations. And they were heading with this fuel everywhere. It could be like their homes, parking it around where those, because we have street hawkers around. They can even go and scoop the fuel from the tanker. They will place it into one boot, into everything, just like getting a container that will contain some amount of liquid. When it is filled up, they take it around. So it was not a special container being used. As long as you can grab anything and that can make you get access to the fuel, they were definitely taking it, because the thing was something unprecedented and nobody expected that things like that could happen. So those who were around, because just a single liter of fuel, the pump price here is equivalent to $1. That is 10,000 leaves. And people took it like an opportunity to get money out of it. And fuel is a marketable commodity, competitive goods, and whenever they have it, you can make money within 1 minute. And that fuel was definitely on the ground. The driver abandoned it because he knew the danger that was behind it. Trying to sound warning to them, nobody could listen to his running, rather than they took advantage of the dangerous opportunity. And while this thing was going on, somebody who was just smoking arrived around and dropped the piece of the cigarette that was in it, all blazed into the air, and everything escalated.
Wow. Did the person not know any information, whether the person had no idea that there was, a fuel tanker that had an accident and there was fuel spilling out? He didn't know?
Well, I am stone sure about that, because everybody knows the danger about fuel, and he may be a cigarette smoker, but he knows exactly how flammable fuel is. And because it's a congested area and a park, everybody was just trying to do their own. Even some of those who are now victims today never knew actually what was going on, because there are times, since the city is very congested, I'm telling you about a city over 1 million people. So there are times you may even be stopped into traffic. You may not know exactly what is happening ahead of you or why you are being congested till you are given a green light for you to leave. So the possibility that there is a high possibility that the person who arrived at that scene never knew. So upon his arrival, just try to, the cigarettes that he dropped on the ground, littered everything, and that ended into it. He never knew. He just arrived and everything just went into that flame. The thing started escalating because, as I said, everybody was scooping the fuel, heading into any direction. And the fuel started following the route, or the fire followed the route wheresoever this fuel was taken around. And unfortunately, there were other vehicles parked around, and boots and other things that we are placed around. And most of the time, our houses, especially in the part of Freetown that we are talking about, there are certain houses that are not properly constructed and they are flammable. So as long as there is fuel introduced to it, somebody who has actually gone there with that, and this thing was not just taken on one occasion. Sometimes a person may succeed to take 1 or 2 gallons, and he or she will keep coming. As long as there is not fire and everything become flammable, the fire can follow the route of the fuel. And nobody knew. Some people even got burned, they died, they never knew that they were actually entangled into incident like that till they saw the fire coming.
So, Edward, is it that during your investigation, have you been able to establish the environment, the area where they happened? Were there too many zinc shacks or zinc homes or houses around that area?
Absolutely. It's a very congested environment near a park, and it's Wellington, PMB. So people normally come, they go around, and this pier was actually heading to the station to make a kind of to deliver fuel into the station. So like we have what we call in Sierra Leone a tipper, something that they normally use to either convey sand when they want to do bidding, or they can use it to convey any other goods. And these are also very strong, powerful truck. So I think it was within the curve while one is trying to balance the other one. Unfortunately, it got heated, and when it got when after it contacted that vehicle, there was the tanker got damaged and spilling of fuel started coming around, and the driver left the tanker. He actually realized the danger. So since it's a crowded environment, people took advantage of it. Those who were around, those street hawkers, bike riders, everybody who saw it, who could not actually realize or read the real danger behind it, but they just took advantage of the fact that fear is a monetary commodity and they can use it to gain access to real money at any time. So they use it to get the liquid money. Unfortunately, most of them made their debt. And there are certain people who are not actually involved into the very act. But just because somebody passed around with the fear, or they were packed or feel or they stop their vehicles while they were held into the congestion, into that particular traffic jam, and the fire almost took every one of them left. Certain people were even burned beyond recognition. Certain people were burned to ashes. Some people were burned beyond repair. So they had first degree, second degree death.
Thank you. And Edward, during the incident, there was this witness who was interviewed by a media institution in Freetown there. He spoke in Creole, a language that I love but don't understand that much. Let's listen to him, and then you can explain to our audience, what he saw that he tried to explain here. Watch, folks.
Of lives as of this moment, it don't cause so many loss of lives and properties, as you can see, and it don't cause, I would say, national sense of awareness, but the dangers that we can expose ourselves to. So a very somber state, the whole country. Everybody there is sad. The one that we lost them people, the one that we lost property, everybody there in a very solemn moment. As you can see, the weather itself can show the signs say something the way not happy way cause heaviness to people there.
So I'm assuming a young person at this place, and as you say, since yesterday on a day on this thing on the ground. So like I go want to make you tell viewers how many people where you see injured, and also rough statistics of people where you see we die.
Yes, like I said, when the flame be there at its peak, nobody could dare it. Even fire force when they come, 3 fire force vehicles they come, they did all their best, but they not be able to put off the fire because.
So Edward, what is he saying to the media institution trying to pose some questions there?
I think this was one of the people that we are directly involved into this transporting of the victims from the site of the accident to the hospitals. He was saying that people took advantage of the situation I was rightly explaining when there was an accident, a collision between a fuel tanker and another truck. Then with the spilling of fuel, people took advantage of the situation, and little realizing that they were actually endangering their life. Somebody just arrived there with a cigarette, and with just a little drop of it, it actually went into flames, and it made a lot of commotion. You had a lot of commotion around, and the fire just went helter-skelter. Some people actually lost their lives. Some people were burned beyond recognition. While some bodies we are taken into certain hospitals, and you meet them, and while they were taking bodies from one stage to another, even when the fire force arrived initially, 3 trucks of fire force arrived. Because of the height of the fire, nobody could actually venture towards it. By the time it was 1, 2 to 3, 4 o'clock within a.m., that is very early in the morning hours here, over 90 bodies have actually been taken. So he was even estimating that it could be around over 100 or 100 to 20 dead bodies, because you cannot really ascertain over what happened. Like, for instance, the thing happened during the night, and some people actually left their homes heading towards that particular place, literally realizing that they were going to endanger their life. So those who have actually been identified is around 25, 70 something of them have never been identified around among the 115 confirmed dead bodies. And there is even possibility that some people who have not been accounted for even lost their life into the fire. So it must take time. Because as time goes by, people will start reporting to the police that I have not seen my child, I have not seen my brother, I have not seen my father. So if there is no trace of it, and they may ask, when did this person get missing from you? So they will realize that if that person got missing around the 5th and that particular incident happened, up to now, no trace like that, there's a high possibility that he or she could be a victim. So for somebody to just say this is the exact number of people who lost their life, all of us can just be estimating till we see and we listen to the final investigation of the presidential task force being organized to know exactly what happened.
And Edward, when the incident happened and these people got gutted by fire, homes and cars, as we saw in the video there, the victims were being transported as well. And you shared a video here with focus on Liberia. Let's play it, and then you can put context around it.
Yeah, Mr. Sen.
What's happening right now, Edward?
The nation is in mourning. This actually happened yesterday, because yesterday the president, HE President Julius Maada Bio, declared a 3 days mourning. That is from the 8th to the 11th. And this was a mass burial. As you are seeing, these are military vehicles heading with our flag, the green, white, and blue. That is the color of Sierra Leone, our national flag. And these are military vehicles. These are the victims, 115 bodies taken to Wellington, Waterloo's cemetery site, because we are going to give them a mass burial after all of them die. So people who are standing around, they were all sympathizing. The nation is, and this is the grave site. This is the Waterloo cemetery, where 115 graves are being dug. And based on information, some people are actually born to the 1st degree level. And those, normally, if somebody has born to that 1st degree level, the possibility for he or she to survive is very slim. So there is a possibility that the number of deaths is definitely going to increase. And this is the Waterloo cemetery, where they were actually heading with those bodies. And the vehicles that we are seeing, they were army vehicles, because in situation like this, we expect our military to come in, because we have a very disciplined military here. After the war, we have a kind of disciplined army and a responsible police. As you are seeing, this is the popular side, is a Waterloo cemetery, and everybody is just gathered over there, all in solemn mood. We are all mourning. The nation is very sad, and everybody is just taken by shock. A lot of victims lost their life, literally realizing that where they were heading that particular night, everything is just going to be the end of their dream. And there are certain people who cannot still, who they may not even account for their own families. So that is the side. And yesterday was the day that we actually interred or buried that mass burial. So they were all heading towards the grave site.
And Edward, there's another video you share with Focus on Liberia here, where they had the caskets all prepared and ready for burial. Let's display that for our audience, and then we can watch. So talk to us. What was happening there? I mean, a very moving and sorrowful moment that explain to us what is going on there.
Absolutely. Everybody is a solitary move. As you have seen, we normally respect the dead in Sierra Leone. So, but this happens to be a kind of unprecedented death. So they are given mass burial. So they are given their last rituals. You are seeing Christians and Muslims gathered around, singing godly song and trying to express our mood. Everybody was sad. So that was just like a convergement, and Christians and Muslims collaborated. And thank God, Sierra Leone is a kind of secular state, and where every other faith is tolerated as long as you are not serving like an obstacle towards the state and peace and development and progress. So everybody was just gathered over there, and you are seeing all of them. The coffins are dressed in green, white, and blue. That tells you that is a color of Sierra Leone. So everything was just there representing Sierra Leone. It was a kind of national thing. The president was there, the information ministers, and a lot of other personnel were there because the president had to even cut his international assignment. He returned into Sierra Leone. The mayor was also Freetown. She also left in London. She left to come. So all of those things are there. It is really, really not easy. So everybody was there to ensure that they witness this particular thing and institute a popular a kind of any investigation that may ensure that we do not have a repeat of things like this.
Ebro, thank you. So, what has been the government of Sierra Leone overall response to this Delhi incident?
The response of our darling government actually started the very night everything happened. As I rightly said, this is a kind of crowded city, over 1 million, and we know the police may not even be enough to take control of a situation like this. However, when situation becomes flammable, especially fire, anybody can definitely be a danger because no police is weaponized against fire. So you have to be very, very careful. So while this incident was going on, the Honorable Vice President, the Deputy Mayor, we are actually on the scene because thank God communication is very easy. The police were alerted, the Honorable Vice President was also there. So they tried from that very night, they tried to control the situation. And fire force, we are definitely around spilling water into the kind of erupted fire, trying to control the situation. But since it was blazing, it was at its own peak, all they could do was to prevent people who we are actually not aware of the incident, try to send warning signal and make a communication across the radios that are within the city. Even if there's any television, they instructed all of those things to carry on live coverage so that people can easily be informed and understand that Wellington PMD area is a kind of endangered area and nobody's allowed to go there for the time being. So all of those preventive measures we are taken. So just after the fire quieting down, what they did, they organized ambulances. We saw the military and every other people was definitely involved, like the police and the youth around the area. The young man that you rightly saw on TV being interviewed by one of the state radio station on television, SABC, they were all involved doing voluntary job, and vehicles we have been provided to transport the corpses and victims who we are actually born. And these people, we are voluntarily taking them to the various hospitals. The government instructed the hospitals to carry on free treatment, and they are going to ensure that they pay for the bills of all those who are actually undertaking medical treatment. And they also call all citizens to do voluntary donation of blood, because when they are born into this stage like this, right away, you are going to face a status like anemia, a state where you will lack blood. And the effective medical treatment cannot take place on a patient who is without blood. So they also asked them, and they also instructed the lab technician, whosoever the medical team made a kind of quick response to everything. And all the hospitals, clinic, and health facilities that we are around, we are definitely instructed, and each and every treatment should be done. It should be clearly recorded because the government has to pay for it, and they also promise to take care of the victims. And I think because we have a proactive and reactive government, they requested from WHO, I think, a 6.6 ton of drugs and other medical equipment we have been shipped right away in Sierra Leone as I'm speaking, and treatment of the victims are actually going on, and they are promised to take full care of the victims, and also promise to take care of the burials of those who are actually involved. But we are rightly seeing it was a mass burial being conducted by the state. We saw the honorable ministers, the president, the city mayor, and each and every politician converging to Freetown to ensure that these things like that are definitely taken place of, and citizens are also carefully warned on how to prevent incidences like this. Above all, I think the government have already created the presidential task force to ensure that the cause of the fire how come the accident occur, is carefully investigated and solutions can be provided so that we can prevent incidents like this. As I rightly started saying, something like that happened in DR Congo, it happened in Tanzania and other places. And you watch as Freetown, this is one of the worst area. If it had happened in upland in the provinces, maybe victims could maybe people would have fallen victim, but wouldn't have been up to this scale here. But because of the conjunction, people will easily take advantage of dangerous situation and try to exploit it to their own advantage. Is exactly what happened. So the government have been very reactive, and it has been proactive in one or two ways to prevent a lot of other victims going. You were proactive, like trying to disseminate the message every other area. The mayor was in town. She was definitely conducted.
But Edward, I want to know, has the government made any announcement about the victims' homes that got destroyed, those who lost their cars? Is there any word from the government whether or not these people will be taken care of? I mean, would the government be able to build their homes and give them the cars that they lost? Anything from the government concerning the victims?
No, information like that have not come out, but the government is trying to investigate and know everything that happened. And maybe solution will be provided into that direction. But this is an emergency situation, and I think the best way that they can address it for now is try first to save the life of the few available victims that are around. Maybe some are born to the first degree, second degree, some are born to third degree. Especially the second and third degree, sometimes they can easily be taken care of. Maybe the first degree depends on the medical people advice and God's intervention into their own situation. And the government also come to the damages of this, the damages that the fire actually incur, the damages incur on the people by the fire. They will try to investigate these things. Sometime maybe the government may try to provide certain solution, but no public statement like that have been done. But we know that it's a very responsible government, and they can only undertake things that they believe and think that would lead into the right direction, and they wouldn't want to rush with anything. So they are doing their own investigation. That is why I said they have organized the presidential task force to first investigate the cause of the fire, to know the damages that actually occur, and to see what solution they may provide to the problem.
Edward, any information on the driver of the truck as we speak? Was he safe?
Yeah, the driver of the truck was safe.
Okay.
He was safe. In fact, based on all rumor, even to that man that was actually interviewed by the television, by that SBC television, the driver actually left the vehicle, warning each and everyone around to stay off from the vehicle. That is a very dangerous opportunity. Nobody should take advantage of it, because any continuous presence on it may easily endanger people's life. So the driver strictly warned everybody to stay around. So it's actually, his life was safe because he knows what the type of job that he's doing, and he knows what danger, fear is capable, petrol is capable of inflicting on people. So he actually warned them. The driver was safe.
And Edward, this other video you sent to us is not connected to this particular incident, but it's similar in some ways, right? And let us share it with you. And this one actually was a petrol or truck that had an accident, and you saw residents in the area were just there to get some gasoline. Let's watch that, and then we see.
This is what happened today at Agony Bridge. The tanker lost control. The carrier outside, they reconstruct the bridge. Let's know more now. Now, a long tanker will load kerosene. We see normal people in the first part of kerosene. Behind this.
So, Edward, there you have it. This one is a tanker that had an accident. It was carrying kerosene, but you saw citizens and residents there, they see an opportunity. Though it's different from what happened, but there was like the same thing that happened when people saw this accident, fuel spilling out. They went there to collect some, and that's how the thing exploded, and they got killed.
Absolutely. Fuel, kerosene, or petrol are all flammable, and they are all very, very dangerous to human body, especially when you expose yourself to fire after you have a physical body contact with these things. I think based on the information that we had about it, somebody was actually voicing, WhatsApp and sent it. He has seen a tanker lying down on the ground, said it lost control and collapsed. And residents who were around and at Bailey Junction, they took advantage to take the spilling of the fuel. So if you continue watching the video, you will see other people around who are carefully recording the incident but staying far away. And everybody, you are seeing adults, young children, all we are just busy scooping around that field and moving around along it fast. Because when fire like this occur, now the fire is not only going to stop at the tanker on the side, but it is definitely going to visit all the homes where this particular flammable liquid was taken along. And that was the same thing that happened. So like this happened during the daytime. If actually we are seeing the factual thing that is happening, it happened during the daytime. Which the other one that happened, it was during the daytime, but this one happened during the night. So it's similar. I think this should sound like a warning to our citizens. It could be for Sierra Leone, it could be for Liberia, it could be like any other country. Because right from the beginning, we saw incidences who are not even part and parcel of Sierra Leone. They also happen over there. I think it is high time our community members, especially those who we have who are administrators, to keenly inform people on certain opportunity that actually will produce risks to your own life. Because we all see this as an opportunity. Maybe you can associate it to poverty. Because we all know people are very poor, and when they see any situation where money can easily be generated, they can do anything to ensure that they land that opportunity and scoop whatsoever thing they have of it. That was exactly what happened overnight, and that is exactly what is continuously happening over there. Let us assume that anything like a fire come around, definitely the fire destruction will not only end to the collided or the collapsed tanker, but it will also extend to all of those homes. So people who are not even, and you watch at the buildings in Sierra Leone, we all have zinc and houses that are very flammable. So there are times just because a fire reaches a home and it is definitely burning, another house which may be near can also contract it because they are being built with flammable materials. So this is actually the danger that we are posing, and people normally take advantage of situation like this, little realizing the danger that entangles around that particular opportunity.
And Edward, if you look at all this, I know we're going to get to some disasters that happened in Sierra Leone later on, and you're going to explain to us what happened then, what year it happened, how many persons lost their life in those incidents or disasters in the past. But knowing what you know right now, was this fire disaster preventable in any shape or form whatsoever?
Well, you watch at it, it's a very critical statement to analyze. First, let's watch at the time that it happened, during the night, around 10 p.m. And people took advantage of the situation. I think somehow, somewhere, it was preventable if actually people had listened to the driver's warning. Because he left the area, he sounded it very clear that people should leave. This is a dangerous opportunity being presented to them. And the fuel is flammable. It is capable of inflicting a lot of harm and damages on everybody. But nobody never listened to him. And they took advantage of the situation and overlooked the driver's warning. All of them went in for the fuel. So on that backdrop, we understand that it was definitely preventable. Preventable in essence, lives and property wouldn't have been lost into that way because, mind you, people took the fuel from one place to another. And when the fire disaster happened, the fire traveled wheresoever the fuel was being transported to. So had Sierra Leoneans or our colleague citizens never violated or overlooked the driver in, trust me, the damage would have been, but it wouldn't have been like this. That's what I'm saying. It was actually preventable if they had listened to the driver's warning prior to the arrival of the police, prior to the arrival of our stakeholders to take decision like that. I think the driver gave them an informed statement that they should leave. He knows what happened, but come to think of it, they overlook everything and they saw the spilling of fear as an advantage to get money overnight.
And you think what was the contributing factors to them not paying heed to the warning and advice of this particular driver?
Nothing less than poverty. Nothing less than even ignorance of the danger being posed around it. Because some people thought that the possibility for fire to come around was very slim. Little realizing that they have people who even smoke in public in Sierra Leone. So like some of those things, they do it for public safety. You may even in certain places, you may realize that somebody may even make an attempt to smoke in a vehicle, in a public transport. So they have to force to put it off. You have people who are also very radical. They can tell you how cost to put it or you leave my vehicle. And this thing all can endanger things. So these are some of the things. Little realizing ignorance, poverty, because ignorance and poverty took away everything. Some people were actually aware of the fact that it poses danger, and it could even lead to the destruction of your life. But they realize that if I can take 2 or 3, 5, 10 gallons, I may have something to cover my 3 or 4 days expensive. So they took advantage of it. Some people actually never even knew that if somebody take a gallon of fear, give it all to you under that particular atmosphere. When there is danger, the fire is going to trace you. So trust me, it was ignorance and poverty that escalated everything into this vein.
Thank you, Edward. Folks, in cyberspace, Anthony C.A. hosting here, focus on Liberia Spectrum with our West African correspondent, Mr. Edward Amara, who is also the co-host of our program here, Round Table Africa. If you are not aware, there was a major accident that took place in Freetown, Sierra Leone. A gas tanker had an accident and later exploded because someone was traveling in the area, moving into the area, who was smoking. And when that person dropped the cigarette, that is how the whole thing got at fire. Many people died. As we speak, we have about around 115 to 120 confirmed deaths. According to our reporter, Edward Amara, many people cannot be identified. Some people sustain first-degree burn, and they are not being able to identify some of the people that died. There was a mass grave that has been dug, and they have been buried in those graves. We show videos of those things happening, these dead bodies or corpses being transported by the military and police and other people helping. Edward, let's come to this. I have a question whether or not Sierra Leone or Freetown is actually free, because the saying is the town is free. And you have been able to do a comprehensive report of disasters that happen in Sierra Leone. You are reporting about a mudslide in August of 2017 that resulted to the death of 101 people. The cause was a heavy rain, deforestation, and erosion. You are reporting that. And then there's a flooding in August of 2019. The death nearly around 500 people, with more people reportedly missing. Over 500 people lost their property and homes in that particular incident. And then in 2014, the popular Ebola epidemic, all right, death was around 4,000 people, and then about 1,400 cases. 14,000 cases reported. Talk to us. Is Sierra Leone or Freetown actually free, given what we know that you're reporting right now?
Metaphorically, Freetown is actually not free. Because let me tell you one thing. Freetown, when you watch at Freetown, it was not actually built to serve as our capital. If you read history into Sierra Leone, Freetown was actually built to serve our colonial masters' interest. Because during the days of colonization, what our colonial masters do, normally Great Britain, you talk about France, Germany, or let me just say Portugal, and all other places, Belgium. What they normally do is they locate places that are built or settlement, or they try to establish settlement that are built along the coast, like the Atlantic Ocean, any big rivers where they may easily have access. And those areas like Freetown, you can easily, because by then they have no air transport, and there was nothing like road transport, but you may have an access from here to London through the waterways. And those things we are used for voyages. So Freetown was actually built as a capital to serve the white man's interest, like taking our goods from the interior into Freetown to transport them directly to our colonial masters in London. Even when they have slaves, they will take them directly. Even when we have our first batch of slaves in Sierra Leone, 1787, when the 411 black slaves came, the Maroons came in 1719. You talk about the Nova Scotians, all of them came. They used that particular port to come here. So Freetown was more built to serve the colonial masters. And when you watch at Freetown is not actually a free capital. We have all our administrative setup over there. Maybe it is high time our government think otherwise to make certain changes into our city, because Freetown is built within the peninsula. If you have been into Freetown, it's a very beautiful city. I can proudly tell you that Freetown is beautiful than Liberia and Conakry, Guinea. I have been to these three cities. I know Monrovia and I know Conakry. I can tell you, when it is during the rainy season time in Conakry, if you go there, you do want to see yourself. If you get down into Liberia, I think there was a popular statement from the EU spokesperson into Liberia, EU representative, who claimed that Monrovia is the dirtiest city that they have ever visited. Freetown, unlike Freetown, is not so. It is standardly built. You have fantastic buildings, but the environment is not ideal for a city. In short here, it is built into an environment where flooding can easily take place. There is a kind of thing that they call here the Freetown Peninsula. If you enter there, you will see mountains, or people are even residing into those mountain building hills, houses over there. So normally, like the mudslide that happened, it tells you that people build homes into environments that we are not actually conducive and also safe for building, because there was no proper warning given to them, or maybe proper warning was actually given to them, but because it's the capital, everybody want to stay over there, and they just decided to continue living over there. And even when you watch at the capital, it is so water friendly, and when something is water friendly, it becomes flood friendly, because people are even building in those Krube community or others. When you get there, people are even building in the estuaries around the Atlantic Ocean. And whenever there is rain, like from June, July, August, September, you expect flooding to take place, and people will definitely lose their life. So based on the congestion of Freetown, and you watch at the dangers that surround the city. In fact, when you watch at the Freetown is one of the 10 endangered capital into the world. If you watch our statistics, they will tell you that if they ask you for endangered environment where disaster can easily take place, Freetown will definitely come on the list. It's one of the dangerous capitals around in the world. So when you watch at it, in theory, Freetown is free, but in practical, Freetown is definitely not free. You watch at the disasters that happen. You see the mudslide. It nearly took around 1,441 lives. These were the official number that we have been accounted for. But trust me, if you have gone to Freetown, you realize that certain homes, in certain rooms, 5 or 6, even 10 people could be within a single room, living within a single room. So if 10 or 15 houses like that, actually people lost their life, will you tell me that it's 141 lost their life? No. That mudslide could have been slightly over that, but that was the official number given, because these were the bodies that we have been accounted for. And there are certain people who we are even living in Freetown, nobody knows their whereabouts. If the entire family lost their life and nobody is there to give report, how do you expect that particular thing number to be accounted for? You see the mudslide. If I forget to send you those videos, but if you set eyes on after this program, we'll send the videos to you. See how the destruction that took place over there. Houses were being destroyed, property lost, vehicle destroyed, and over 500 people officially were reportedly killed. And a lot of others we are missing. Over 5,000 people lost their homes and property. When you investigate, you understand that numbers like that went beyond expectation. You may also think about the Ebola. When it came in here also, it took a toll on Freetown. we have about 4,000 people who lost their life, over 1,400 cases, I mean, over 14,000 cases were reported all over the country, about 1,400 people lost their life. And bulk of those numbers actually happen in Freetown, because when you have congestion, disease and disaster can easily take place. Because when people are congested, there's a dense population, and when a disease comes, it can easily spread. A disaster comes, it can easily happen, and everywhere we just have a supply of its own. So even on the January 6, 1999, our civil war into Sierra Leone, it took another heavy toll into it. It's because of population density. The water densely populated was, so the rebels had the opportunity to kill anybody that they may set eyes on. So looking at all of this disaster, Freetown is definitely not free. It is not a free city, and it's one of the endangered city, the most endangered city into the world, where it is disaster prone. If you watch at it, even when you watch at those disaster reports, they will tell you that Freetown is one of the disaster prone cities. And just after, to end my comment, just after the 2017 and 2019 flooding, report we actually been given trying to see certain sites, and even suggesting to our government by then, and even now, maybe this suggestion like that have actually been made, so that they could relocate certain people from certain places, because they realize that it may happen this year, in 3 to 4 years, even 10 years time, there's a possibility that another disaster will happen. But if you do not prevent people living there, people will still take advantage and continue erecting homes over there. As long as they continue erecting homes, nobody knows when the disaster will strike.
Thank you, Edward. Amara there reporting from Freetown, Sierra Leone, on a Delhi gas tank explosion that captured the life of about 115 to 20 confirmed deaths. Very, very sad indeed. The nation Sierra Leone is in agony. We will take a short break. When we come back, we will read your comments. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, we are back with you. We will read your comments here quickly. Yeah, from Afrita. I am watching. That person must be feeling the pain of the people of Sierra Leone. Amen. K. Salif the second, he is not happy about what he's hearing. John writes, poverty is bad. Media source, rest in peace. From Joetta Johnson. Wow. She is saddened by that incident. John again, was it done deliberately? The person is asking a question. John again, has he been identified? Maybe talking about the gentleman who was smoking the cigarette. Edward S. Mara, right? We pray God have mercy on the souls of those that perish. On the other hand, people should learn to take responsibility for their own personal safety. Let's all learn from this tragedy. It's indeed a great news to victims, families, Sierra Leone at large. That person writes. From Mayfi Deco, another tragedy in Africa. Florence, so saddened by the whole situation. George Palakwa, this is sad. Prince Sharif, our deepest condolences to the government and people of our sisterly nation, Sierra Leone. River says pros, right? My condolences to the family. River says pro again. Did people actually die from the explosion, or people carry gasoline into their homes? I had a different story from a Sierra Leonean friend. From River says pro again. Where is the authority to tell them to stay away? From River says, does Sierra Leone has fire trucks? Dave Jar, very sad, my condolences to the people of Sierra Leone. River says, busy here, Africa. River says, poverty in Africa. River says, true ignorance and poverty. That was when I asked the question, what are the factors that might have contributed to this particular huge death that happened? True, brother. May God Almighty bless our people. Dave Jar again. Only this may have been prevented them. Only they may have prevented them from getting to the tanker. Rapid reactive police could have intervened quickly. My condolences. So David saying this may have been prevented if the police maybe who have intervened quickly and stopped the people from moving into that area. River says, Pro, in Liberia, Georgia would be the one to have killed everyone. Oh, leave Georgia alone. We're talking about a very, very troubling, story here in Freetown. Augustus, right? Amara, do you compare? Are you comparing Liberia with Freetown in a big lies? Go back and take a look at both cities and make your decision again. Please stop lying, my brother. Edward too, if you don't know, Edward is a Liberian as well. He has seen those three cities he talked about as Conakry, that Liberia, and let's say Morovia and Freetown, but it's debatable, Maybe Edward lives in Freetown now, so he's taking Freetown over Liberia, and this brother is not buying it. Let's hear from our bottom line. Let the good Lord have mercy on their soul. Edward, you just listened to the comments, some questions there, some concerns, and a little debate there. Somebody disagreeing with you whether Freetown is more beautiful than Liberia. Morovia.
I have respect for his own opinion, but I think anybody who knows the three cities will definitely tend to agree with me. Liberia is my country. I know that very well, and I've been on several occasions to Monrovia, and I do compare. If you can even you may even go on statistics, do on YouTube and whatsoever, and sometimes we compare and contrast, and at the end of the day, you will tend to buy my own idea. But anyway, I respect his own opinion. Thank you. I also thank him for commenting. As I heard somebody was saying that he had something very different. So people never die from the disaster, but they die from those who are taking fuel into their homes. I don't know, but I think most of those people who took fuel into their homes lost their lives, and those who are at the scene also lost their. Mind you, there are certain times when things are going on wrong into Africa. I may even come, if I'm ignorant of the situation, I can easily come and stand to be peeping around, just seeing what is going on. There were even certain people who lost their life. They were only taking video shot of what was going on, little knowing that the fire could erupt, and with your phone and whatsoever thing, you can easily lose their life over there. So it was not just a single victim that lost their life. Yes, somebody also said police would have been proactive, maybe the accident would have been averted. Somehow I agree with you, but mind you, we all should understand the situation of Africa. We do not even have police to adequately police all areas. And when this incident happened, I think the police were called upon to take charge of the situation. But before they could arrive, things already went on wrong. Because immediately an accident happened, they saw it as an opportunity to scoop the fear that was around. So you wouldn't blame the police into this incident. Before they could drive, and there was traffic congestion. That person should also realize that. So there was traffic congestion, and we only have few roads. And I'm telling you about the main road here. So even when police are coming, do you think that the police are going to kick away those vehicles also come? Some of them could even alight from the vehicle, trying to rush on the scene. And people were very busy. The driver already realized the danger that was happening. Let us just accept the fact that the disaster has happened, and people never heeded the advice of the driver given to them. Before ever the police could arrive on the scene, fear was already taken away. And the man who actually dropped the cigarette that he was smoking on the ground, I wouldn't want to say it was a deliberate act, because he also knows the danger of fear. As I said, the incident happened when some people could not even realize why they were being stopped, why the vehicle has a jam pack, why there was congestion going on. So this man could be anybody trying to look for his own way, and he just arrived there, and there was a connection. And I don't even believe, based on the explanation of the man, that he was even right at the spot over there where the incident actually happened. But people were living from the fear from one direction to another. So that cigarette could be dropped anywhere where this fear actually was taking place. And alongside there is a connection, definitely you are in danger. So this is what happened. It wasn't a deliberate act, because people wanted to take away everything they can. It was a deliberate act to scoop the fear from the falling tanker into their homes. But it wasn't a deliberate act to set the area on lit.
Well, Edward, thank you so very much for such a detailed report from there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Folks, in cyberspace, we are about to shut down this broadcast. We brought you the topic, daily gas tanker explosion in Sierra Leone, the agony of the nation. According to report, as our West African correspondent is reporting here, about 115 to 120 persons confirmed dead, some that cannot be identified because of the level of burn that they have sustained. There was a mass grave that has been dug by the people of Freetown. The government is involved doing everything to have these people buried. Some of the victims that stay alive have been taken to hospital and they are being taken care of. Edward, again, thank you for such an excellent and splendid detailed reporting there from Freetown, Sierra Leone. We appreciate you. Your 30-second closing.
Thank you. I think we also need to take advantage of this particular situation in Sierra Leone and learn from it. It has been happening to other countries. Maybe our president, our leaders can make any proactive measure and also try to warn whosoever that may want to take advantage of such dangerous opportunity. Or else it could be Sierra Leone, it could be into any other country. Because Sierra Leoneans are as poor as Liberia, as Liberians, they are poor as Guinean. So any situation like this that we prop up, they definitely decide to take over the situation. And this could lead to another danger. So our government can learn from this, because we are today in total mourning. Everybody is mourning with us. The disaster took place here. It's a very difficult situation that we're about to handle. This is the second day of mourning, and tomorrow we mark the end of our mourning. So it is high time our government in Liberia, that of Guinea, and in Sierra Leone also should learn from such things, and institutions should be put in place to prevent disasters like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward Amara there. Folks, this is how we will come to the end of this broadcast here. There was a special broadcast by Focus on Liberia on the daily gas tank explosion in Freetown, Sierra Leone that got about 120 people killed. The country of Sierra Leone mourns. Our hearts go out to the people of Sierra Leone, and our sincere condolences to the family who have lost their loved ones. The song says we are all Liberians, and that song is taking us home. Until we catch you again, I'm Anthony here saying, on behalf of this network, Focus on Liberia, saying bye-bye to you.
We are Liberians.